a word, and then ways of being. That's how I've modified.
Oh, oh, it's divided in two. Now I see.
Ways of being. Yeah. It's funny how the curriculum just kind of shows up, eh, for life.
Yeah. When we allow it, when we're anticipating it, right? When we're looking for it, we're in versus forcing it.
Open, allowing, welcoming, witnessing.
And then we can put all of that in contrast to expecting.
Mm, creating.
That's right. And they overlap, you know, they engage, entangle with each other. We just want to be aware of where we limit ourselves in the definitions in our understanding.
Beautiful. Me. Yeah, beautiful. It's like when I'm in my head and I speak from that space, that is limitation. But when I'm in my heart and I find ways of translating that experience, ways of being show up and are generated within. And it becomes a shared experience with the world.
Yeah. Both of them are, and then it comes to like, oh, which one's more authentic? Truer. And we could say, it's like, oh, what's the source of each of those two? Meaning, where does the idea, where does the creation originate from the mind? And then what's the source of the heart?
Hmm.
What makes them different?
For for me, the source of the heart, I now understand that to be my true authentic self, super conscious, who I really am, my essence. That's my experience.
Good. I, I agree. I accept. That's how I think of it too. And and what would be the mind?
Memory, memory too. Stories of the past can show up in various forms, beliefs, judgments, uh, traumas, painful memories. That's my experience, anyways.
The mind takes everything personal.
Mhm.
Just like me. That's why I'm giggling.
Even when another car hits you in the back and you ask, why did you hit my car? It wasn't personal. You would have hit any car. It was the brake that failed or something. It's nothing personal to do with you. It's just the way we act.
Based on our history, which is how we've experienced it up to that moment. So it's all based on the past of the experiences, of the history, of the conditioning. Without a doubt, it's the ego.
If it was a heart-centered person, he would say, are you okay?
Mm, yes.
Different values.
Mm. Yeah. Scarcity versus abundance, limited versus expanding, me versus us, we.
Mm. Money versus personal life or life itself.
Jesse, what What ways of being are you choosing today? I probably missed that.
Let me put it back in here for you. What is my word is reimagine. Ways of being is curious, simplex, and open. And that's reimagine for me. Looking beyond the spotlight. As the spotlight is shining on what do I desire? Reimagine it. Curious about the restrictions, the limitations, the blind spots. Make the complex simple. And open rather than force. Flowing rather than pushing. Those are my ways of being. As I cook up, as I play with, reimagine. Reimagine, re-engineer, reformulate, recalculate, recreate.
Love that. Recreate. Every moment is an opportunity. Every moment is a possibility. Every moment is a pre-sent moment. It's a present. It's a gift. And we give back in this gift of the present moment when we show up in our authentic, heart-centered self. When we give love to others in our ways of being, we create the possibility for others to do the same. We free ourselves of the shackles, the prison of our mind, being a prisoner to the past. We show up now and now. We have this opportunity to give love today, to give it to our family, to give love to our friends, to give love when we're driving down the road, to give love to our community. We get to give love online with our online tribes. And we get to spread this experience, this beautiful gift of being alive today with everyone we come into contact with. And if someone's in pain, we can give them love. If someone's suffering, we can be there with them in love and give people permission to be where they're at. To create the freedom and generate freedom by being it. Now, love is freedom. War is prison. War is slavery. War is forcing. Love. Love is power. Love is the remedy. Love is the solution. And it's so gentle. It's so gentle. It just welcomes us and invites others to be. It demonstrates courage. It demonstrates patience. It shows it is connectedness. Love is who we all are at our core. Sometimes people just forget who they are. We can demonstrate the possibility by being in our hearts today and bringing our beautiful, creative, authentic, heart-centered self into this experience, these connections with others as we go through our day. We get to smile lovingly at strangers and see their beautiful, authentic self. That is me. I love you. I love me. And I'm complete. Thank you for being here with me, friends. Heinz, Chi, Jesse.
Thank you for sharing with us, Will. Reimagining love. Reimagining peace. Power, passion, purpose, prosperity.
We get to be that today. It's all available in our ways of being today. We get to generate and create that experience within and give that experience to the world in how we show up. That is our gift today to the world. Well, gonna hop off, guys. Thank you so much for this experience together.
Thank you, Will. Till next time.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah.
Okay, have a good day.
Oh, thank you, Chi. Thank you, Jesse. Hope you guys create an amazing day.
We will be bouncing now, Will.
Let's see.
Have a great day then. Good morning, Cinderella.
Good morning. How are you today?
Just great.
Good morning, Cinderella.
Good morning.
Good morning, Central.
Good morning, Chai. Haven't crossed paths with you in a little bit of a minute.
Me?
Yeah,
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. And always better when I get here. This is like the filling station, a collection of just beautiful excitement and geniusness and expansion. I'm great.
Right. Always good to be here.
Let me look at our words for today. What do we have? Reimagine. Ooh. That's an action word for sure. Hmm. Will, clarity, creative, curious, happy. I find clarity right now is as an interesting word as a verb. When you my experience with clarity is, we all want clarity. And it starts with the heart of like, what do you want? What do you perceive? What do you imagine? Right? But it's as you take action with faith of knowingness of what you desire and you imagine in your mind and in your heart. And it takes courage too. It doesn't take as much courage as you learn how to trust the clarity that you see in your own reimagined mind. But as you step from one lily pad to the next lily pad, it gets where you're going, it gets clearer. But if you wait until everything is clear, then is it really your imagination that you're seeing? Is it really your creation that's unfolding? Or is it just you accepting what has already been? But when you step on that next lily pad, oh my goodness, the courage, the faith, the belief, the imagination that comes out of you and it manifests as you step forward, it gets clearer and the heartbeat of creating gets stronger and it's more you learn more trusting of self, more trusting of being a creator, more purposeful too, like is letting this thing that is inside of you come out and add to others, and it creates such beautiful living in doing this. Mm.
Morning, Craig.
Good morning, Craig.
Good morning, all you
Craig.
fine people. Hey, little Cindy.
Hey, wee Craig.
Good morning, Craig. So true, Cindy. Wanting clarity and waiting for clarity versus creating, producing, bringing clarity in.
Yeah, that's it. Oh my goodness. I just saw an antidote to something that gets on my nerves. I have a dear-hearted friend. She always speaks of, I'm waiting on God to show me. I'm waiting for an answer. I'm like, no, take action, do something. Don't wait for God. God's waiting for you.
Mhm.
He already created you. He said, go multiply, go evolve. I've already put the talents in you. Produce something.
You know, and you can track in back in that thinking in those words. So where's the power? Where am I? Where is she giving the power?
Anywhere but in her.
In God, in that sense, right? It's like, oh, give it to me, God.
Yeah. Like,
And like you said, well, he already has. It's there for us to listen.
mm,
We're waiting for that letter to drop in our lap and say, oh, here it is. Well, it's in our heart that we have to transcribe it.
mm, we transcribe and we write it with the lives we live.
Mhm.
Ooh, that's good. That's real good.
Sort of like the lily pad you were talking about, and she's just standing still on one, waiting for it to change. It will not change unless you take a step.
Mm, mm. And she's the change, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
she is the power. She is
Yeah.
God of the world.
Yes. Yes.
And we all are a victim of that until we're not, till we reimagine it.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm developing that muscle. Oh, it's so exciting.
Yes, we all are. There's always another lily pad to jump on.
It's the journey we've chosen to take together.
Until it's not together, until it's with somebody else, somewhere else.
Yeah. Not having to hold on to what is to experience, what's to become, or hold on to people. Ooh, just be with people. You don't have to like squeeze them and hold on to them. Not unless you're enjoying a good hug, right, Craig?
Yeah, then you can then you can sit in that extra long. Uh,
Have you had a good hug lately?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Nice.
A good
Nice.
physical one, yes. Yes, yes.
Nice.
Yeah, it is nice. I want to dive a little deeper, though, into what we've been talking about.
Please.
Yeah, because I have lived a good chunk of my life um, kind of being reflexive with action. And at this point, I'm recovering from overachievement, which nearly killed me. And I see that as one of the most destructive addictions in society today.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that we don't have the agency to act, but I've had to learn a new way to live that actually requires a lot of waiting and sensing divine timing for things that's actually in sync with me. Another way to say that is I'm realizing that I did a lot of acting reflexively, like not even in reaction, but in just thinking it was my place to initiate things. So I'm kind of sorting out between where that's my role and where it's my role to be supportive of another, maybe, that initiates things.
Good morning, Mona.
Mona?
Welcome, Mona.
Good
Hey,
morning,
Mona.
Mona.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? I like your words so far.
All right, thank you. And
Craig, I put
Craig?
in,
Go ahead, Cindy.
thank you, the chat of holding on to the pretense of what to be is, I got that from when you said being an overachiever and it almost killed you. It's like trying to keep the structure of expectation together, and it's all a mirage. It's like repairing and holding up the matrix. That's what I got from that. Is that relative to what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, because that was, yeah, for me, that was partly correct.
Mm.
Because, yeah, because a lot of my energies went into
maintaining the matrix that already existed. Trying to maintain the one that's actually falling apart. And my true role is actually creating the new one, the new matrix.
Is it because that was the one that you felt like you only always knew external of yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're hearing what I'm saying. Say it another way for me, Cinderella.
Um, hmm, say it another way. There's this thought of, or this feeling of approval, this feeling of what's right. And we're always looking for what's right with an affirmation outside of us. Mommy, is this good? Daddy, did I please you? Am I gonna get an A? That's how we're cultured. So then it's like people will say, I just heard it a couple of weeks ago, what do you have to contribute? So you're looking to have something good built up that you offer that's good, that can contribute, that makes other people happy, or to give your worth. But that worth is according to what like patches up the matrix. It's another octagon shape to keep everything in place. But it's never what really comes up from out of the wellspring of your own geniusness. So you're not, they say, when the little boy asked, I think it was the elder, the elder said, there's two wolves, there's good and there's evil, there's the plus and the minus. And so, well, which one survives? The one that you feed. And our rearing, parents do as best they can, whatever. Even society does as best it can. But in doing so, in that order of providing order, of functioning in order, they create these things called schools and jobs that are given to us to choose from. And we're always looking for approval from outside of us to fit in. And it's not for us to fit in, it's to live from within. But that wolf isn't nurtured. Fitting in is the one that's nurtured. And my God, I spent most of my life, like, I would say, from it really started happening around age where I was knowing that I could do what I needed to do to get the A+. It started in kindergarten. I was going to try to say about 11 years old, but as I'm speaking and reflecting, it really started in kindergarten. You know, I was I was the teacher's pet. I knew how to play that role like 1,000% as naturally as I'd wake up every day. But it got more and more cultivated. And now there's nobody giving me an A+. you know, and I don't even want it from outside of me. I am having such a blast living from the inside out. And so the validity of the matrix is falling away from having power over me, or providing a structure of power. It's there. But like last Saturday, my son came, and for the first time since he was a little kid, we were about to leave each other, and I asked him, something in me said, pray before you leave each other. And he had already, the gentleman that he is, he said, okay, mommy, I'm leaving. Now he's 26 and he'll still call me mommy. And he, opened my car door because we drove in different cars, and he closed my door for me, and I started my car up, and he walked around to his, and it just hit me, don't hold in, Sindrell, what flows up. And I jumped out the car and I said, let's pray before we leave each other. And I would not have been surprised, and I would have respected if he shied away. But we're in the middle of the park. We're in the middle of the parking lot. And he takes my hands and he just prays and he takes his time. And that prayer, it engulfed and expressed the common, aspects of the hour and a half long conversation that we had, where he heard my hopes and my dreams and my love for him and of myself and for myself. And he prayed, he just took his time. We stood in the parking lot without caring who was there or anything that came by. We held hands and we prayed together. Like that was living, that was like standing in the midst of the matrix and not being matrified, not being contained by it, not being observed by it, not caring if we were observed by it. And it was breaking, it was being in the world, but not of the world. What a precious moment. It was like a hug. It's like time was not linear or even relative to anything else except beingness. And so now I'm of that age and stage, that which do I feed? Do I feed the matrix that gives me agita and angst? And do I measure up? Or do I just continue to step out on the lily pads and let the life force be expressed through me as it comes out? And that's what I have to offer. I'm not, it doesn't have to fit anything. It doesn't have to fit anyone else's program, because really it's me being me. It's like that word that comes out in the Bible is one angel giving way unto the other to hallow thy creator. So it's more of like giving way and honoring you being you, and it's great, and it's like sparklies that come off your energy and your power and your light and your exploration. And you don't have to be what you were yesterday. You don't have to be the pretense of what anyone could possibly imagine you are tomorrow. Right now, you're love, you're live, you're living energy, and I get to be that expression how any way it is for me, whether I'm wearing red my red coat, or if I want to step out in my red bottom shoes. It's still good. It's being in the world, but not of the world, and being empowered and empowering others by them being that too, however it comes out, however it flows.
Yeah. Like that moment you shared with your son there in the middle of all that chaos that was going on around you.
And it made all that was like still. It just became
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. You created a point.
Mm.
Yeah. A point of connection, a point of awareness. I know you didn't say it this way, but what I heard you say is it was a choice between the matrix or the moment,
Yes.
and you chose the moment.
Mm.
And you invited your son into it. And he said yes, which made it magical.
Yes. It was a moment, an intersection that was there. And like if I missed it, it wasn't gonna come again like that for that
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Well, you had to create it.
And I jumped on it. I was like, I'm not missing this.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, what an inspiration that was, eh?
Where did the clarity come?
It was like Abraham Hicks says something like living on the leading edge.
Yeah,
And it was like that was a leading edge. And it was riding out it was just leaping over that edge and flying.
Mhm.
So the moment of clarity came when I recognized the open portal inside of me for me to be spirit, to expose me being spontaneous, knowing spirit with him.
the spirit of attention.
And we think that the clarity is after the moment, after the fact, which maybe, right? Because then it's like it's complete. It's like, oh, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I jumped onto this next lily pad. But in reality, it's that we don't know how far that ripples. We don't know how far that goes. It is and will. It could go on for the whole time, continuing to add clarity. Oh, it's
Yeah,
just not in that
Wow.
moment.
Wow. The
the clarity
clarity is
happened
in the
before.
leap.
Yeah, the clarity happened before the action,
You're like right before the leap. Like right
before the
before the
invitation. Yeah,
yes.
yes. So you're
Woohoo!
acting from clarity.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
And in the unknown, it's clarity of the unknown. It's the urge. It's the, yeah, okay, I'm going to take that urge.
Accept the invitation. It's the and yes.
Mhm.
yes,
It's there's a portal. There's like it's like the magic, right? It's like it's that slither of space that you let pass by or you leap. And in leaping, you're really leading because it's leading with heart. It's leading with and it's okay. It's already okay. Mm. So much, so much, so much appreciated here this morning. It always is, though.
Yeah, I appreciated being able to explore that more deeply.
Mhm. Mhm.
So for me, that's about that whole what we're talking about here is clarity before the action.
Mhm.
And yeah, and to me that what identifies the clarity that way is giving attention. And what's kind of crazy about this is
Mm.
that I kind of equate that with a different flavor of hypervigilance.
Okay.
Okay, and that's from my own experience of being deeply traumatized as a very young child.
So go back to the vigilance. I need to know what that is.
Well,
How old was you,
yeah,
Hypervigilance.
Craig?
it's a real okay. When you're deeply traumatized, it shows up as a very like a vigilance towards danger or potential danger. Okay, so it's a deep sensitivity to potential danger. But the bottom line of that is it's a deep sensitivity to potential. Period. Okay, and what's been happening for me over the last 5 years here is that sensitivity to potential for danger has been swapped with a sensitivity to potential for anything.
Is that paralyzed? Is that living paralyzed?
Um, yeah, I had lived paralyzed because that was the reflexive action that came through my system, through my nervous system. But but that hypervigilance has made me like it's very comfortable to me to be hyper sensitive, to be hyper vigilant, which turns out to be a really good thing now because I sense all these energies and I it's like I'm used to being hypersensitive 24/7, but now what I'm sensitive toward is very different from what I had been sensitive to, if that makes any sense.
Okay, okay. This one I'm
Okay.
getting. I
So I
I
was sensitive to threat and danger, but now I'm sensitive to everything. Like I'm sensitive to the energy of whatever's going on around me. And it doesn't even have to be around me. I mean, it can be half a planet away. So it's turned out to be a skill. So I have this uncanny ability to sense potential.
yes, but I pose, I don't know. I pose or suppose that because you you knew not what the sensitivity was. So you just kept feeling and feeling and feeling and observing, and dare not budge out of the square box you were placed in. And all the sensitivity built up, built up, built up, and because you didn't know it as an outward expression, that it built up a certain pressure, and you just kept it like contained, like and paralyzed in that box, in that space, like not even breathing deeply. And to express it, it was almost like the box itself was the alignment of your fear zone inside your comfort zone, because it's what you already knew and had survived. But then it just came to an apex at some point where it was seeping out and busting out, and then it's like a power that you don't know how to work it. And then it was just like all out, and your being is just like spazzed, like floating in the aspects of the universe. So how do you be without being in a box? It's like, how do you be without being in a box? And then you start like the twinkles of the things that are like not in the box, and you're like, well, what is that? What is that? And you come to know that you're more natural, and you're surviving being out of that box. And you start coming into exploring and knowing yourself, because you know what, there's nobody there to keep you in the box. Oh, they'll remind you of the box. Oh, they'll tell you, get in that box, get in the box of who they think that you are in their own pea brains, because they don't model for you or show you or explore for themselves being anything other than in a box. Because if you're a box and they're a box and you're all boxed and you're stacked up on each other, and then for you to become something that you know, for you to be a box, you're in a place and you're supporting their box pattern. And oh, God forbid you find out that you're spirit and not a containment of a box, and yours just oozed out and changed and shifted them and made them uncomfortable. And it's like you couldn't look to them and say, what is this? Who am I and how am I to be? And because they couldn't emulate that for you. They grew in their own different kind of way, whether they grew inward and imploded or exploded. But then you came, your soul soared and choose. There was a choice for you to thrive and survive. And it wasn't defined. It wasn't lined out for you. It wasn't patternized for you, but you chose to follow that wherever it took you, because now your box had disintegrated. It was because once you're expanded, you can't go back, and you expanded, and it disturbed their boxes, and then you had to stand up against their definition of you being a box when you no longer had a box to be. And now you're Craig, you're like universal, you're like sparkling twilights, and every aspect of you does feel. And those feelings that were they were they were already getting to be combustible, and now mm-mm, now they're infinite. And it's a ever exploration of you and one with universe, and you still feel, but it's not contained, and it's not fear. It recognizes fear for what fear is, but it's not fear.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
live for
It
the
knows the
fear.
difference. It knows the difference. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Hmm.
and not even really the difference, because yeah, yeah. What's come out for me is that it's all just energy and it's all just neutral.
Hmm.
Right,
It's
right.
neutral until we give it charge.
Intention.
by our definitions, by our definitions and our interpretations. Yeah.
Just thinking about what our conditions are a result of the seeds that have been planted in us, whether by ourselves or by others.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a rule in the universe, in nature, rule of sorry, not rule, law, yeah, law of reaping and sowing, law of attraction, law of cause and effect. We can always go back and sow new seeds, like we're doing here. We're sowing seeds of love. Yeah. So we can always change the conditions by going back to sow new seeds.
Yeah.
Mm.
But what I'm talking about is that this developed spontaneously somehow and unconsciously, maybe even super consciously. I'm not really sure about that. But it's definitely a superpower today that has been that has been developing throughout my life. And so the part of this that I'm just beginning to comprehend is that so much of that has been hidden from my awareness for so long. And that
Who hid it?
all of a sudden, well, that's kind of what the question I'm asking.
Yeah.
For some reason, it seems to have been intentionally hid and not, and I don't know that was by me. I think the reason it was hidden was so that my awareness wouldn't get involved in it.
Well, how it appears to me is that it was you were trying to figure out how you would use this superpower. The society said that you can't use it that way. You got wounded and hurt, so you hid it. And then you went through and learned all the other ways around it until you came back to it and said, oh, no, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Or what's coming to me, Jesse, is that it could be both.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kind of a combination of that. I mean, that's one of the true discoveries for me around true nature is that it's a true nature of mine, but that true nature is a co-creation between me on this side and me on the other side.
Yep. Yep.
Morning, Pascal.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Pascal.
Hey, Pascal.
Pascal?
How are you? Yeah, I was driving this morning. Not to the city, but yeah. I was like, oh, that's perfect. At about, I don't know, like almost an hour. So that's awesome. Yeah, it's been so cold here in Calgary that, I've been taking this as an excuse to not walk the dogs, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Cold and snowy and all that. But yeah, and then like slippery, right? Like very slippery sidewalk. Now it's getting better. So a very interesting story this morning. Whatever I catch. So you discover your superpower, Greg.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're discussing. And we were just saying that, well, I was just kind of surmising here that it's kind of a co-creation between my soul on the earth side and my soul on the heaven side that have co-created something that's of use here now. And part of that has to do with it being subconscious and super conscious. And that it's only come into my awareness relatively recently.
And it appears, right, as if we think about it as a child developing, we're starting to put words to it. And as we put words to it, people are using their other words to tell us what not to do. And that's where we begin to question our own, like we question that aspect of it, which is why we have to come back and find it.
Yeah.
Which is why we come back to the clarity. Because now we have words and we see a way that it wasn't working. Which all just gives it the meaning, gives it the words, gives it the perspective. And we can say, it's like we spent our whole life running away from it. Oh, I wish I would have found it sooner or earlier or whatever. And it's like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, but at the same time, like if you would have found it earlier, you might not understand it just the way you understand it now.
That's right. That's right. You couldn't have, right? Or otherwise you would have.
Yeah.
And then you just realize it's that urgent pattern again, right, of mind that says, oh, I should have known this a little earlier.
Yeah. Who says?
Yeah, that's right. And so in that overachiever pattern will always try to show itself because it is what we've experienced. And then it's our responsibility to notice, is that old pattern or is it part of the new one? And they're both. Which one are we feeding, as Sindrell would say?
Yeah. And we're kind of brainwashed that like only this life matters, right? And it's like, oh, when it's done, right? But like, what's the rush, right? Like if you discover it now or like you discover another life or whatever, right? Like what's really the rush? You know, when you know that you're infinite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, it depends on who's putting the rush on it, right? So if you're paying someone or someone is asking you to pay them, it's their rush, right? They're rushing you to find it.
Yeah.
Well, timing seems to have a lot to do with it until time doesn't matter. if that makes any sense.
No, it's like the reimagine. It's like the umbrella working under today is the reimagine. It's like what reimagine is all of this that we've been discussing.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to do that if you haven't lived a few decades.
No, say it's like when you're trying to figure it out. You know, it can be hard to see it as reimagination.
You know, I'm convinced now that as a 2-year-old, I knew all this on an extremely deep level.
Yeah,
And that's part of the reason why I decided why I tried to escape it.
I'd say we knew it without the words. Now we're just trying to connect the words to what we knew.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tried to avoid living through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like being present. Um, we were present before, and now we're trying to get present again. I took my son for his first swimming lesson. Like in the museum, like oh my god, like everything is so new, eh?
Oh yeah.
Like my wife was in the water, and then like she was like, oh my god, like he was thinking so much, and then like you could see like he was a natural, right? Like it just yeah, but to be so present in the water, just like it didn't matter what around him.
Yeah. So he took it like it was a natural habitat, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious that he knew that already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's a water sign, so I don't know if it has anything to do with it. But yeah, because you could see like other babies that they were really scared of water or like not ready to attempt things, but he was just like all in. Like,
It has me wonder. It's like, oh, I wonder if it is really the water they're afraid of or just something different.
Yeah.
Right? It's like everything we approach in life, right? We approach it the same way, whether it's the water or a situation. It's like, ah, fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're in the womb, you're actually breathing water,
Yep.
so they say. So then you make this transition from breathing water to breathing air. So it's pretty natural. I know I'm a water sign and I always loved water, being in water. I almost lived at the swimming pool.
I think it all comes back. We don't realize how much our conditioning shapes us from from inside our mother's womb, from the environment she was in and around, to our development, to who we are today. I don't think we truly appreciate the depth of that. If we did, we would teach our children completely different.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
I have a pen sticking in me. I hear the word, we're using the word fear a lot. Um, and it reminds me of stress in the sense
Mhm.
that we've put like we can define like so many experiences as fear or events causing stress. But I want to focus more on the fear. Um, thank you for your patience as I try to get this out. Um, is 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 fear fear? I mean, like, yeah, there's unknowingness, is things we haven't experienced, but that feeling when we feel something unknown or unfamiliar or not sure if it's going to overcome us or we're going to overcome it or if we're going to collaborate and cooperate with this energy. Is fear just because it's something different? And I think maybe somewhere in me, um fear, something that I just, that's different, I just label, like this heightened energy of like defense as to eradicate fear in my life that comes from a source outside of me. Is I just want to hypothesize for a little bit, that I need to rest on this and let it evolve. Is the when I feel fear, or that thing that I've labeled fear, or I sense that thing that is like, ooh, I gotta control it. I'm afraid. Rescind, go back, be small. Um, check it out. You know, be certain. Um, am I labeling so many things fear? But when it's really a invitation from the universe to evolve and collaborate, just because it's something different, you know? And not and I'm even afraid of maybe who am I gonna be? Who am I gonna be in this unfolding?
Mm-hmm.
And I might have to let something or someone or even my beliefs go. Mm,
What's the opposite of fear for you?
it's a
The
good
other
question.
emotion.
Fun, fun, curiosity, exploration, faith.
Mm-hmm. So it's in let's see, there's like a I don't know. Do you do roller coasters?
Not very much. Turn my stomach upside down and cause me to vomit.
Mm-hmm.
But
Some
yeah, that's
people,
letting something go, right?
exhilaration for some is the other side of fear. It's like they're so connected. Fear and exhilaration, and we can, yes, get confused by or label it. Sorry, let's label it inappropriately.
Yeah, that's it right there. That's it.
Without a doubt. And then it comes down to, well, what is it that we should really fear? Because it's a very useful survival mechanism. But to like stress, to apply it to everything is unhealthy and keeps us from exhilaration.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have to be our default?
There we go. That's the thing right there.
And it is. And if it's our default, it keeps us away from what's possible, what could be. Keeps us on that same lily pad. Or at least not, we haven't ventured far off of the one we started on. Fascinating question. What should we fear? Better yet, what do we fear? Failures, making mistakes, looking bad, being wrong. Change, looking crazy, sounding crazy, being crazy, chaos, power, love, joy, peace, passion. So we can fear everything.
Mm.
What's coming to me is that fear is there so that we can learn to navigate its low frequency energy and be unaffected by it. Because there's a preponderance of it on the planet right now. And humanity is working its way out of that. Not out of the energy, but out of the effects of that energy. And as that happens, its influence dissipates.
Yeah, I think we're learning that it's no longer serve us,
Right.
and that's not true. Like fear is not true, because if it was true, it'd be like if I'm fear of water, then everybody would be fear of water. So it's just kind of a construct of my reality.
Yeah, because the survival instinct doesn't serve us anymore either.
But yeah, we're moving out of the bottom chakra.
Yeah.
I heard they're merging into one. So those are the survival.
Yeah, it's like we're growing beyond all these adaptations that we've created over the years, like the survival instinct.
The fighting. so many others, right? That are
fighting back.
ultimately associated with the fear.
Yeah, the clamoring,
Mhm.
and also the competition.
Mhm.
It turns out that every man for himself is not true. It's not the true nature of a human.
So what could you reimagine for your day? What did you reimagine today? Breaking through boundaries.
What I've chosen throughout this session this morning is about turning up the sensitivity level on my attention dial.
Thank you.
Yeah, giving myself permission to be attentive.
Mine is being being the infinite power creation. Because it is a choice, in my opinion.
Mhm.
It is a choice that we also always have available.
Yes. Thank you, Chi.
Thank you.
I want to thank you all for exposing aspects of fear and dispelling it for what it isn't. And I think it's uh, that exploration is to be continued for me. But thank you for the journey.
Yes, and Drill, we had a lot of fun with that today, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the bully is made up to be, right?
Well, right. It's not.
It's really a teacher, like it's really wisdom. It's ooh. Some time ago I was like, fear, mark the exit wherever I fear. That's where my treasure is. That's where I get wisdom.
Yeah. It's almost like saying dig here.
Yeah. Yes.
X marks the spot.
Absolutely.
Yep. And if we don't, it will come up again. It
And
will
it
remind us
does.
again later.
It sure does.
Mhm.
My mom told me a story. God bless her soul that continues to thrive. Um, so she had to go to school, every day, and she lived in Brooklyn, New York, with her grandmother. And my mom would come running home, and hurry up and go in the house and clean herself off and everything. And so she got away with that for a few times. But one time, my grandmother, in her wisdom, she just kind of like observed what was happening as Lois would come into the house. And she didn't bother her, you know, she just observed. And so one afternoon was about the time the kids get out of school and would be on their way home. And so would Lois be coming home. And she was running home, and trying to run into the house. My grandmother stood at the doorway with her short stature and broad hips and hands on her hips and said, "Where are you going?" And stunned, caught in her steps and her haste to run into the side door. But Grandma was at the front door on the porch with her broom, like she was just out there sweeping the steps. And she stopped Lois, and Lois like looked up because she knew she was wrong on so many fronts, but being wrong more to herself than anything else. But my grandmother, talk about the Ancient of Days, she just stood in her power. And she wanted to make sure Lois had that power too. And she stood on them steps and she said, "Where are you going?" Dumbfounded, Lois' eyes got really big and more of a fright of seeing grandma on the steps than whatever she was running from. Grandma, they coming after me. They want to fight me. She said, then you better go ahead and fight. You got a better chance against your bully or me. Now don't come back. You go to it and don't come back until it's done. She said, hurry up. Well, she ran away from grandma, ran away from the house, ran around the corner, ran into her bully. And she was so afraid of having to fight her grandmother that she beat that bully to a pulp and exhausted came home. Grandma's still in the doorway, not with the broom in her hand anymore, but just on the other side of the screen. Lois didn't have to run into the side of the house. Grandma opened up the front door and had her come in, cleaned off her scrapes, sent her to take a bath, and told her, come on in here, child, sit down and have dinner. Let's eat. Lois didn't have to run from no bullies no more. She didn't have to run from her own power either. And she found that she had support to face her bullies and her demons, but more from the inside out. And when she became a champion of her own life, she was able to sit at the table and eat dinner with other champions as well. Yeah. Fight the bullies or fight for your fate. Yeah, that's a Lois. That's a Lois. That's a Lois story.
Thank you, Cinderella. Yeah. Thank you all.
Yeah, it's been great today. Thank you, everyone, for taking a deeper dive.
Have a wonderful day, and until next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, everyone.
Great thing.
Love and hugs,
Take care.
everybody.
Love and hugs.
Bye.